Hi, and welcome back to Geno'S Picks, presented by the SBR Forum. We're back for another year, Season 5, and you may notice something, no cards. Why? Because Daddy got a teleprompter. This is going to be exciting. I know, you can't wait. Nothing's grinding my gears. Let's get to the NFL preview. Let's start with the AFC East, people. There you go. People, the Pats are still the Pats, and all they've done is gotten stronger by signing Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski to long-term deals. And does anyone here want to second-guess Bill Belichick, who knows Stephen Ridley in his second year is ready to shoulder the load at running back much better than the law firm did, and that's why he's moved his practice to Cincinnati. Ridley has much better hands out of the backfield than Green Ellis. And while everyone's saying Wes Welker may be unhappy, he's still smart enough to know that this is the business of football. And this year, he's auditioning for one more contract, which translates into a career year for an already incredible player. Hello, PPR stud. Now, the Jets are a joke, and while I will not waste good material on Tebow and Sanchez, as I'm sure the upcoming 17 weeks of the season will afford me plenty of those opportunities, I will say that Sanchez is lying when he says the Jets are saving their good stuff for the regular season. Because if he believes that, then he's obviously already smoked a ton of good stuff himself. And then there's Miami, who is all in on Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill will have to hone his pro QB skills on the fly, and that will be complicated because the only legitimate receiver he has is tailback Reggie Bush. Head case Chad Johnson is gone and would have been little help even had he not been dismissed after his domestic violence charges, which, by the way, while Geno's Picks may joke, we certainly do not condone hitting women. But I do tend to believe Chad when he says he didn't headbutt his wife as much as she actually headbutted him. In fact, all Chad has to do to win this case in court is to show highlights from his 11-year NFL career, where it's plainly evident he has never once used his head. Now, of course, if she were to allege that her head repeatedly bounced off his hands, well, Chad's going to be in trouble there. People, take the under on 7 wins for Miami. If you want to see the Dolphins in the postseason this year, you're going to have to rent Ace Ventura again. Now let's do the AFC North, people. There you go. Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, people. All possible playoff teams. And then there's Cleveland. People, let's make it quick. The Ravens are great. The Steelers rock. And the Bengals are up and coming. And after facing that division, there's 10 games left for the Browns, who will start off at 0-6, basically. Anyone think they'll be able to scrape 5 wins out of their 10 non-divisional games with Brandon Weeden at QB? Because if you do, you're not saving any good stuff for the regular season either. The bad news is that the Browns are on their way to their 10th straight losing season. The good news is that there's finally a city more embarrassed in Ohio than the one named Cleveland. And that's the one named Sandusky. People, take under 5 for Cleveland's amount of wins. All right, the AFC South, people. Look at that. I love the Texans in this division, right? I know. Who doesn't? But how can you argue as they pick up where they left off, while all 3 other AFC South teams have quarterbacks playing for their first full season? Now, don't get me wrong, as I think Andrew Luck will have a great year for a rookie. But also, I think the Colts are a lot better than their 2-14 record showed last year, as losing Peyton Manning made that much of a difference. Believe it or not, I actually like them to win over 5.5 games this year, especially since they get to play the Jags twice and Miami and Cleveland. But the cream of this division is Matt Schaub, Andre Johnson, and Foster in Houston. Oh, if you have the #1 pick in your fantasy draft, do not hesitate to jump on Aaron Foster, despite the fact that some geniuses are saying Ben Tate will be taking carries from him. Please, the only person who you'll see less in 60 minutes than Ben Tate on Houston is Mr. Tate on Bewitched. And just like Mr. Tate, you can watch the entire 60 minutes and you only see Ben Tate once, usually for half a minute, fumbling around with the actual stars. People, take the Colts over 5.5. Oh, the AFC West. Please, people, do not get me started on the Chargers, who you cannot convince me did not bring back AJ and Norv so they can continue to lose games and hence fans, leaving Spanos no choice but to move his failing team to LA next year and get himself the brand new state-of-the-art stadium that San Diego won't give him. Hope it's a great coffee shop, Jack. What movie? Sorry, Geno T, but the Raiders are going to have a year of adjusting to new coach Dennis Allen, and the Chiefs still have Matt Castle, who is aptly named because he's been sacked so many times. In fact, the only thing that would be better and more fitting was if they filled in his first and last name on his birth certificate and left the middle one blank, because then his middle name would be incomplete. People, if John Fox can build a winning offense around the glorified fullback that is Tim Tebow, think about what he can do with the first ballot Hall of Famer that Peyton Manning is at quarterback. It's like the difference between asking Noah to build an ark in biblical times with his family and asking him to build one with today's technology if his family were Cuban. Exactly. Just like Peyton Manning, no matter how little you give these kids to work with, they can really turn it into something special. Oh, and here's one more reason I love Denver this season. Because they don't rely on a rushing game like the Chargers, Chiefs, and Oakland, who, by the way, lost all three #1 backs to injury at some point last season. It was Charles' first time, but Darren McFadden and Ryan Matthews have yet to play a full season. Of course, at least Run DMC has proven to be a bona fide stud when healthy, unlike Matthews, whose nickname should be Peanut. Not only because that's the size of his heart, but because that little bitch is brittle. People, take the under on 8 wins for KC. All right, people, the NFC. Look at that. Yes, I took the Eagles to win this division, but only because I think both they and the G-men pick up where they left off last year. But the thing is that the Giants got hot in the postseason, and while that says volumes about their talent and character, this is still the same team that struggled with the run all year and lost twice to the Washington Redskins. Will they make the postseason? Of course, but I like the Eagles to do well with the defense playing together with a full year under their belt, a happier, though no less crazy Deshaun Jackson, and a confident Andy Reid, who knows even with Vic missing his standard 3 to 4 games, he has stud pocket passers Nick Foles and Mike Kafka at the ready. The Cowboys missed the playoffs again, as I'm sorry, but you cannot win with head cases like Des Bryant distracting your team. And now I'm told he's been given 5 commandments to help keep him in line. Please, the guy has proven time and time again he doesn't learn. If you're going to take the biblical route, instead of giving him a set of commandments to follow, just skip to the end of that Exodus story and smash a stone tablet over his head. Oh, and by the way, while he has been banned from going to strip clubs and drinking, maybe they should ban him from associating with prostitutes. At least that will keep him from assaulting his mother. Oh, and nothing but the best to RG3, but this division is too tough for them to win 7 games, especially when you realize they don't get 2 walk-offs against the G-men again. People in Washington take the under of 7 wins. In the NFC North, yes, I love this division to field 3 playoff teams. I won't waste your time telling you how good the Packers are and how the Lions have only gotten better. And I don't think that the blood vessel that burst in Matt Stafford's hand is anything to worry about, because if it were, we would have heard about a blood vessel bursting in Jim Schwartz's head by now. Look, I look for him to stay healthy this year, as well as Jay Cutler, who now that he has a happy Matt Forte and a Michael Bush to do what he does best, spell a stud running back for a change of pace. Now, couple that with the fact that Cutler's been reunited with Brandon, I'm one more wife-beating charge away from getting picked up by a federal marshal. I like my jokes. And you can understand why everyone is saying that this guy is believing that Chicago's offense will finally be as good as their defense. That said, people, I take the Bears to win 10 or more. Oh, yeah, and the Vikings play in this division, too. And given the defenses of the other 3 teams, Christian Ponder's going to end up wondering why there isn't a U in his last name. That was an S-P-E-L-L-I-N-G joke. Again, take the B-E-A-R-S and the O-V-E-R. All right, let's move on. The NFC South, that's right, the Saints, people. I still like them to win their division, as whether Aaron Cromer or Joe Vitt is wearing the headset, this team's leader was, and always will be Drew Brees. And if anything Brees has always shown, it's loyalty, which is why he will not let his true coach Sean Payton down and will win the NFC South. Now, while I'm not genuinely impressed with Atlanta, they get a cake schedule, and they know how to win at home. How easy is the Falcons' schedule? They don't face a team with a winning record from last year until Week 8, and that's coming off their bye in Week 7 to face the Eagles. Wow. I'm not saying their schedule is soft, but if you search for their schedule under Google Images, you get back a picture of aerosol cheese. Yeah, take the Falcons to win more than 9. Oh, and Cam Newton and the Panthers are going to pick up where they left off, and the Bucs are going to give Josh Freeman one last chance, but trust me, by season's end, Josh will be walking the plank. Come on, I get one cute one, right? All right. Let's take it on with the NFC West, people. The Niners are still far and away the best team in this division, although I think Alex Smith will not put up the career year he had last year, which is hilarious because his career year was a slightly above average one for anyone else. Still, that defense in San Fran is impressive, and anyone named Harbaugh is a great coach. But what really seals the deal for this division for San Fran is the fact that they get to face Bradford and the Rams twice, Wilson and the Seahawks once, Flynn and the Seahawks once, Cobb and the Cards once, once and Skelton in the Cards once. See what I did? Because those are two teams with no set quarterback yet. Look, that's how unsettled the NFC West is. At least, though, in Seattle, these are two first-year guys over there, first year in Seattle, brought in to compete, and that's just what they did in the offseason. I'm thrilled that Russell Wilson won. It's going to be interesting to see if he can hold on. But what the hell is Arizona's excuse? When they spoke with Peyton Manning this summer in the offseason, they should have brought two things into that meeting. Huge burlap sacks filled with money and a gun, because either way, there's no way they should have let him leave without walking out of there with a Cardinals contract. But they didn't. And now they're stuck with John Skelton and Kevin Kolb. And by the way, don't be stupid and act like you're impressed with how Skelton did so well last year, because he did exactly what Kolb did the year before for the Eagles. He played well in meaningless games that had no outcome on him starting or not. There's no pressure on you in that situation. Skelton knew every time he took a snap that he could throw a 70-yard touchdown pass or a 30-yard pick six on any play, and either way they were bringing back Kolb. They had to because of all the money they were paying him. But now this year that he's actually playing for a starting role, how am I doing? He's doing terrible. Now, the Cards are getting what they deserve, and the only people I really feel bad for out there in Arizona are their fans, because they have to watch every game knowing that Kevin Kolb has more trouble hitting Larry Fitzgerald from 10 yards out than Oswald had hitting John Fitzgerald from 88. Yeah, want to keep going with the tasteless? Maybe Kolb should get out of football now and help campaign for Senator Aiken, because the fact that Kolb signed a 6-year, $65 million contract and then went out and won one of the first 7 games proves that there actually is a thing as legitimate rape. People, take the under as the Cards win 4 games at best this season. Those are Geno's picks. Let's get to the damn games, people. I had to throw something.